Hey everybody, welcome back to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and probably needs a new line to start the show with. I'm your host, and who can't talk, Jonathan Higgs, and welcome back to another Airsoftology Mondays show. And by the way, this Q&A show is number 99. I had no idea we have done that many. I was actually creating the folder, I was looking back through the archives. This is number 99, so the next show will be 100th episode. So I do have a question for you guys before we get into some announcements and then right into the questions. What do you want to see in future episodes of Mondays or just the Q&A show here? Do you want me to add some things? You want a little longer, a little shorter? You like the format the way it is? What would you like to see different? I did see some comments, and this is something I think you guys have been asking for quite a long time, of putting the timestamps of when we do each question here. I'm going to start doing that. In fact, starting with this one, down in the description, you'll be able to click on the timestamps if you want to jump to a question that interests you. You'll be able to click all those down in the description below, no problem. So that way you guys don't have to suffer through a couple questions you don't like. Also, hang on, I got them hiding here. Yes, behind my laptop. Patches. If you guys don't know, 2 weeks ago, I mentioned we got brand new patches in. I got my logo patch and I got the Call Your Hits, kind of like, well, you know, it's Call of Duty, come on. These have almost sold out. I am blown away. I've got a handful of these left. I almost have none of these left. It's incredible. I'm gonna try to do a reorder here soon, but I'm gonna be probably out of stock very quickly. So if you guys want these, grab them quick. I will get a restock. I'm not sure when, should be a few more weeks out, so if you've been holding off for one. They are $8 a piece, shipped international. Of course, it's a shameless self-promotion. It does help promote the show. All right, now I'm done yapping. We're gonna dive on here into what you're really here for, and that is your questions in the Palco Mailcall. Netrox Bros writes, why don't all airsoft guns and batteries have Deans? You know, actually it's a really good question because even in my tests, and I've kind of done this in some reviews I've done before in the past, Deans are superior. I've seen a 1 to 2 round per second increase by putting Deans on. In fact, I've answered questions about Deans in the past. Deans came about much later than the standard airsoft plug, which is called a Tamiya plug. It's a little white one that you see on every battery pretty much, and almost every airsoft gun out there on the market. That is an old battery plug. It's been around for absolute decades. There was a large type and a small type Tamiya. In fact, you don't really see the large type ones anymore on guns. Deans came about, I'm not sure when they hit the market, but they really started gaining popularity maybe about 7 or 8 years ago. So those came after the fact. The problem is the standard was already there. They already had that standard in place, and it would require a combination of every airsoft manufacturer making that change, and then battery manufacturers, which up until just a few years ago weren't even airsoft related. Like, battery manufacturers didn't make batteries for airsoft. They just made RC car batteries. So there wasn't like a way to make sure that all the connectors were the right ones. And RC cars, again, still used by default the Tamiya, and they're only now starting to change over to Deans or other style connectors. So, and it's a long explanation on a short question, but some companies, like Classic Army here in 2016, have started including a Deans adapter. So you actually get Deans plugs on the gun. It has a MOSFET in it, and then you get an adapter to take it from a Deans style, which is those little red plugs. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, what Deans are, little red T-shaped plugs, over to a Tamiya. So now you actually get them pre-installed. I think Classic Army is definitely leading the way here in 2016 with having Deans pre-installed and then giving you that adapter. So if you're not switched over, you can. If you guys haven't switched over, definitely do it. It's pretty cheap. If you don't know how to solder, I think it's usually shops charge between $5 and $15 to put Deans on your gun and a few of your batteries at the same time. Definitely check with your local shop, or if you're not comfortable, or if you are comfortable hacking around, try out soldering. It's not that hard, and you know, the Deans are pretty cheap. You can mess up a few before you get it right, and you kind of experiment to work out your soldering skills. Kelly Jones writes, do you think a sling is necessary or not really, and do you use a sling? Depends on the game. I will say yes. Yes and no, slings are not and are necessary. They are necessary if you're running a sidearm and you want to be able to transition to, like, let's say your pistol or something else. And for me, they're pretty necessary for long games like milsim ops that last all day or even multiple days. The reason is your airsoft gun gets pretty heavy. You're going to want to put it down. Sometimes you have to climb ladders and do things, and you're going to need that out of the way. Setting it down may not be the smartest bet to be able to put it down on the corner or a wall and ask somebody to hand it up to you. So for me, on a big event or playing like CQB or just a pickup game with the sidearm on, I will always run a sling. That said, if I'm not running a sidearm or not at a big game, chances are you're not going to see me with a sling. There's really no point. You can go out, play for 5-10 minutes. Chances are, or definitely if you're playing right, your airsoft gun's gonna be up the whole time, right? You're not gonna bring it down. So you're gonna have that airsoft gun up and aiming at targets and scanning. So for the 5, 10, or 15 minutes your round of airsoft lasts for a quick pickup game, or even 20 minutes, I won't run a sling. And then I'm done and set my gun down or whatever. And sometimes slings get in the way. So yes, for milsim ops and for CQB running a sidearm, I will absolutely run one. And then for, kind of pickup games, stuff like that, where I'm not running a sidearm, nah, no point. Absolute Gaming writes, hey Jonathan, love the show, and my question is, what external or internal upgrades would you throw in a stock AG, say a combat machine? Many beginners have asked me this question, and I feel as though you'd answer it better. Thank you. Oh, you say that to all the girls. No, seriously though, for me, I will say the number one upgrade I would do any gun, let's just take the combat machine, or really pretty much anything unless you're getting kind of a custom built gun anyway, is a new type or barrel first and a new hop-up bucking. With the exception of a few guns, I really think Crytek does a good job with their buckings. VFC has a pretty decent bucking installed, but for the most part, if you're looking at a combat machine gun or anything like that, upgrade that bucking and barrel. You're gonna see a marked improvement in that gun, just in accuracy, the ability for it to hop up heavier weight BBs, those kind of things. But back to that upgrade, hop up bucking and barrel, they're both done at the same time. You gotta take that barrel out and take the bucking off anyway. Fantastic upgrades. Combat machine, I'll tell you this, G&G makes some great upgrade buckings. I think they have one called the green bucking. A lot of people talk about it, have great results. The Echo 1 standard bucking's good. The Mabel buckings are good. There's so many great buckings out there, and they're pretty affordable. And experiment. Some may or may not work in your gun. If you feel comfortable, watch some YouTube videos. There's plenty out there that show you how to do it and do it right. Connor McCartney writes, where could I put my phone so it doesn't get lost? I was wondering because occasionally my phone slips out of my pocket and it takes quite a while to find it. Thanks. So yes, that is actually a really easy and tough question. Sometimes I do run, like at big ops, I will run with my phone on me. So like a milsim event, it's in my gear, in a pouch, usually in my chest rig right here behind some sort of padding. I'll usually put like a notepad or like an extra kill rag or something. I don't want that screen to get shot if I take a couple rounds up close. But when I'm playing like at my local field, indoor or even outdoor fields, like smaller ones, I actually put it in my gear and bury it down in my gear. And the reason I do that is I have an iPhone and it has that Find My Phone feature. In fact, most phones, Android, I think all of them have a Find My Phone feature. I put it in my gear bag or my rifle bag for a couple reasons. One, I can keep the thing closed. Nobody really sees the phone. They're not gonna wanna grab it and steal it. I do keep a passcode on mine so it doesn't get, you can't just get into it. By doing that, if somebody does get dishonest and steal my rifle case or bag or whatnot, I have a way to track it actually. My phone's in there, so I can actually GPS track that sucker all the way in. So what I usually do is kind of tuck it down in the foam on the side or even up underneath and use it as a tracking beacon. I know it's kind of counterintuitive. You're like, well, Jonathan, they steal your case. Now they're taking your expensive cell phone. Yeah, but the odds are you can get it back. Fortunately, knock on wood, I've never had anybody steal something major, like small things like BBs and gas. I've had those disappear off the table, but never anything major. But that's what I personally do. I kind of use it as my tracking beacon for my big equipment. If I'm at an indoor field and I don't know everybody there, it's not just like a friends only game. But for big events, I do put it on my gear, either on the chest pouch with some padding in front of it, or actually on like a side GP pouch or something like that. All right, guys, that's it for questions this week, which means it's time for the Code Red Headsets video recommendation of the week. And this one is from my buddy Bojups over across the pond. He has kind of a little tale of an experience with a green gas can. It's actually Neutral red gas, but any gas applies to this video. I've actually seen this happen to a couple people, but not to his extent. Hot day, very hot day, had it in his car, and temperature plus pressurized gas, which Neutral is like a isobutane, kind of like green gas, it's like propane based, causes expansion and explosion. It's kind of a bad physics lesson, or unfortunate physics lesson, and it broke out the window to his car. It blew up so bad it actually cracked out the window. But guys, if you want to watch kind of what happened, the explanation, he does it way better than I can. Definitely check it out. And by the way, if you guys don't follow Bojups as a channel, you should. He does some fantastic sniper footage from across the pond over there. I mean, some really top-notch stuff. So it's not just this. Definitely click around the rest of his channel. There's some great headshots and some fantastic sniper footage. So again, like always, I'll have the link over here where you can click the video or down below in the description. All right, guys, that is it for this week's episode of Airsoftology Q&A, which is on Mondays. And I guess, I don't know, should we keep it? That's another question for you guys. Should we keep the show called Mondays? I will always be on Mondays, so don't fear if you're not, it's gonna be there. I know I've changed the title to Q&A because I think Mondays, so a lot of people who are new don't understand that Mondays are the Q&A show. Should I keep it calling it Mondays or not? I want to know that too. And also remember, we're coming up on the 100th episode. That's next week. What should I do? Should I kick something off? Should I add something new to Monday's show here? Should we change the name a little bit, change the format, or keep it all the same? Let me know down there in the comment section below. And if you're new here, don't forget, if you want to get a question in the show, it's the comment section is where you want to put it as well. Just put your question down there, vote up your favorites. Good questions, get on the show. So make sure it's kind of a good one, you know? And also, I know I've got a lot of back questions, so some of them might be repeats I may have already pre-answered in a previous episode, but I do read every single one. I know you guys don't believe me, but if you guys follow the questions in the comment section, you'll see that I reply to quite a few questions. I read every one for that previous week. Oh, one more thing too. I want to do something this week. I would say definitely the cool commenter of the week. This one goes to Silver Cat Green for just being an awesome commenter. And that's what I love about the comment section. You guys are so cool and you help each other out down there. I know it's a bigger community now than when we started. Then we started with like 10,000 or 12,000 subscribers, getting quite a bit bigger now, but you guys are so awesome. The hate and all the horrible things that you do find in some comment sections, not something you find down there. That's what I love about Mondays and the community you guys have built down there below. So anyway, that is it for this week. And until next week, go out, have fun, play some Airsoft. But no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.